last board meeting, you charged me with coming up with some suggestion on what you could do with regards to the situation of board members being in the same district and how we're going to implement an election scheme for a new election if the Department of Justice approves the 5-2. I've sent, at the last board meeting, I asked all of you to send me your suggestions. At the end of that board meeting, I was interviewed by what I think it was a stand-in reporter for the Beaumont Enterprise, who posed the question of would we be able to appoint either Ms. Bush or Mr. Williams, since they are the two trustees who would be in would reside in the same district under the new plan if approved. Would we be able to appoint one of them to one of the four-year at-large terms? And my response was, I don't know, but I'll see. That was the only comment I received with regards to any type of policy or suggestion on what we can do. So I presented that to TASB. TASB is your policy service. That's who tells us, that our policies are okay, and they review our policies legally in addition to me. So that's, we rely on them, and I send any policy revisions to TASB before they're approved, before they're presented to you for approval. So that will certainly be done. I also had discussions with the Secretary of State's office with regards to whether appointing a trustee who has some years left on the term to an open, newly created at-large position. And there's no prohibition to that. I'm not saying you want to do it or don't want to do it, but there's not a prohibition to doing it. Whether we will be challenged on it, probably, certainly we will. But that, for your consideration, the policy was, I think, given to you on Tuesday to kind of review. It's only for discussion. We are free to make changes. I did get some suggestions from Mr. Neal today with regards to his concerns about it, and we will certainly work with TASB. We'll certainly keep in touch with the Secretary of State's office with regards to any change that's proposed. So I'm open for questions, comments.
Mr. McNeil has the floor.
I thought that we were going to have an action item on this. Isn't that what you recommended last time, or was it discussion?
Discussion.
Okay, thank you. I've had extensive conversation with the Secretary of State, with two different attorneys in the Elections Division. And I couldn't fully get my hands around what they were talking about until finally yesterday. She helped me to understand. And I'm under the understanding that we really don't, of the four, I don't think anyone disputes there's four of us who are going to have time remaining. I don't think that's disputed by anyone. My understanding is that we really don't get appointed to different districts, that we're grandfathered in. Is that not the same information you're getting from?
No, and I don't know what you're referring to. Only two of you are going to be in a same district. So there is no conflict with your district, Mrs. Amber's district. There is no conflict. There's no other trustee living in your district. Mr. Neal and Mrs. Broussard are in the same district, but they're both up for re-election. So there's no conflict there. So the situation becomes, do you take a trustee who has lawfully been elected to serve? And do you, I think the last discussion when we left was, well, do they pull straws and one of them goes home and one of them holds that district?
The question I pose to them is that, and I don't know if the district that Gwen's going to be living in is District 4, but I'm going to use that number. Is it 4?
Yes.
And I'm living currently in 1. My question to them was, if I move to District 4, where does that put us?
Well, then suddenly you're both in the same district.
Right.
We don't have that situation.
No, but we can. So, the reason, but what I was told is that it doesn't matter, because I don't represent a specific district. There's a big portion of District 4, the new District 4, that I'm currently living in, and I'll say down Finette Road, that I can move into Finette Road. And since Ms. Ambrose does not have time left on her term, that does not automatically mean that District 4 is not put on the ballot.
No. And I don't think the policy says that. I think...
No, I understand that.
Oh.
But when you're talking about the fact that one of the four of us lives in a district, that district wouldn't be up for election is not necessarily true. Because if I move to District 4 legally, and I can, that doesn't prevent the district or the board from saying the District 4 position goes up for election on 2013, does it?
No. No, and we started the comment, and I think I understand what you're saying. I think I misspoke when I said Ms. Ambrose is not, if I said that, is not up for election because her term expires. It's Mr. Reese who's not up for election. No, if you move into that district, then we've got a whole nother scenario, and we'll have to figure out, hypothetically, and we'd have to figure out what do we do. But if you're the only one there, the board may say, well, he lives there, he's the one that's, still got term left, and, he's there until his term runs out.
I agree with you, but the Secretary of State told me that the board may also say, you can live there if you want, but we're going to choose to put District 4 on the ballot for 2013.
And that's correct.
No, I know it's correct. I agree. We're on the same page on that. I just want to make sure that we understand. So I won't be moving to District 4. But what I was told, because I couldn't get my hands wrapped around that thought of how I could live there, but could still be up for could still be up for election. What I was told was that all that we really need to do was decide what three positions are put on the ballot, because we have four trustees that are not that are going to sit. We're going to be here no matter what. The four of us right here.
No.
I know, but we don't have to do anything. There isn't a drawing of straws, from my understanding, from the attorneys at the elections division. That
the two can hold, for instance, on the rejoin, Mrs. Bush and Mr. Williams are in the newly joined District 2, that they could both represent District 2?
No, they're not going to represent anything. They're going to be trustees sitting on the board because they still have time left. It doesn't matter if they're living in the same district or not. I think that's where the conversation that Tom had was that's what we've heard.
That's a possibility.
No, but that's a fact. The
No,
four of us
that
are going to
could
be
be
on the board because we can't, unless we have two choices. Either everyone runs, or the four of us. Well, let me finish real fast. Everyone runs, which we've decided as a board we didn't want to do, correct? Or the four who have time remaining remain on the board. It's not a representative situation. We're just on the board because we still have time remaining.
I don't agree with that. And the code specifically says all of you cannot run, because whenever there's an election, there has to be, as close to half and half as possible. And that's in the code. I don't agree with that you sit there and you don't have a district, or we're just here and we're not representing the district. I don't agree with that. I'm not saying that you couldn't decide to do that. I'm saying that's not an automatic happening, that you have to do that or it automatically occurs. I don't agree with that. And I will talk to the Secretary of State. If you want to send me the name of the attorney you talked to, I will do that.
But I was also assured from her, now this is a conversation, this is without going back and doing the research and all that, so this is just a conversation I had with her, that we cannot appoint a trustee at the election to take one of the large cities. That we don't have that ability to.
That's not what I've been told.
Okay. Well, I'll get with you on who I spoke with.
Yeah.
And so at least we can find out. I mean, we talk with the same people.
And we will send any policy revisions. We will work with TASB on researching that. But that's not what we were told by the Secretary of State's office or TASB. I understand what you're saying. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. And I'll email you the lady's name.
Is there any other board members on city names there?
I'm not
Did you
were you on that?
I am, but I think I just clicked.
Yes, Mr. Melody, what I wanted to clarify is my understanding also that the board sitting did not have to run, but during this transition period, after the 2013 election, in which their term ends in 2015, and so that's when the kind of the transition period ends, so that they would then run for the district that they are in. But during the transition period, they are allowed to serve out their term right where they're living, because as trustees, we're to serve the whole community, the whole city. We're not here for a specific district. And it was explained to me that that's the way, it was interpreted to me.
That's not our interpretation from Secretary of State's Arthur Tasby.
So, but that's, again, what...
I understand the argument, yeah, I understand it.
Can y'all speak into the mic so everyone can hear you?
My question to Mr. Neal was, did he talk to the same attorney at the Secretary of State's office that Mr. Neal did? And he said no. And so my suggestion is that you give Ms. Chappelle the name of the person you spoke with as well, so Ms. Chappelle can speak, if necessary, on a conference call with both of those people plus the man himself to get us to where we have a firm understanding.
And we have time to work this policy out and to get approval from the Secretary of State. I don't know how much they will approve it, but they have been helping us with it, so I don't believe they'll stop helping us. And of course, TASB will give us their approval on it too.
Ms. Bush has the floor.
I did, but Janice kind of said what I wanted to say. I do think it's important because we are hearing so many different interpretations. Not only should Ms. Chappelle give the names, but I would like to have a call where Mr. Neal and Mr. Neal can sit in your office with you as you talk to them so that everybody hears the same thing and all questions are answered at the same time. And that way we don't have to worry about different interpretations of what was said. And I know it may be inconvenient for you, but I think it would add some clarity to those that would like to sit in on that type of discussion. It doesn't have to just be Mr. Neal and Mr. Neal, but I think any board member that if you could arrange that, maybe if we even have to have a special town meeting to hear what that interpretation is. But I think it would just be fair so that everybody gets the same flavor of what's being said and alleviate some of the confusion. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Chappelle.
Thank you.